What's to the goodie? What's to the goodie, y'all? How's everybody doing today, tonight, after Valentine's Day? Yeah, it's finally over, thank God. But how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing good today. Hope your spirits are well. Get on in here. Let's talk some Cowboys football like we always do. We know it's a boring period of the time, but it's never a boring or dull day in Cowboys land because, we're always talking about the same thing, contracts, Dak Prescott, all that good stuff. But guess what? Tonight, we're going to talk about linebackers tonight. We talked about the cornerback position. Did we say the corner? Yeah, we talked about the secondary yesterday. Talked about Jordan, Cheeto, Xavier, what the thoughts were, and now we're going to hit these linebackers because basically my question is, are we kind of feeling good about the linebacker situation as it stands right now? Yesterday I asked, are you confident in the secondary? I gave it a no just because of I don't like losing Byron Jones. I get it. I understand it. I understand what's going on, but I really don't want to lose him. And I think if you lose a Byron Jones without replacing it and maybe free agency, which I don't think it's a great class, they're definitely going to have to address in the draft, but then you're relying on rookies. And then you're coming back with a Cheeto who hasn't been the greatest as a second-round draft pick, Jordan Lewis, who is a very good corner, but he hasn't started a whole season. And then you have a lot of unknowns in the secondary. So I'm a little leery going with that secondary. Feel maybe a little better with the linebacking core, but not really because you got a lot of people that are not signed as well. And we're going to jump on that right quick. But first, I want to get your thoughts right quick on what do you guys think about this Scott McCauley dude that came over from Green Bay, worked with Mike McCarthy already over there. And I got a quick excerpt of him. And I want y'all to just kind of listen to what he's got to say and what he feels about the linebackers and just kind of what are your thoughts about him right now so far as far as that goes. And then we'll jump right into talking about the core we have, free agents, possible draft, whatever. We'll talk about it and let's jump into it. But listen to what Scott has to say right quick. We'll wait for this to come up. How's everybody doing once again? What up, Vato Salas 01? Dan Lee, what's up with you? How you doing? Stevie Mack, what's up with you, baby?
Inherit Jaylon Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and possibly Sean Lee if he's re-signed. What impresses you about this unit?
Just all around impressive guys to begin with. I'm excited to start to build a relationship with them to begin with, but they're good people. And that's where it's all going to start with our relationship, how we build that relationship, the respect, the trust, and all those things. Because on the football field, they're talented. I mean, they are across the board. Their skills, their skill set, we can work with that, and we can build, and we can get them to grow. And they've already accomplished a lot. We're looking to build off of that. We're looking to grow and get them better every day.
How would you describe yourself as a coach?
As a coach, I would love to think I'm the same every day. I'm demanding, but you know what? I like to keep within my personality. I love the work. I love everything about the coaching, being on the field, working with players. But I just try to be the same every day, and everything comes off of that.
Right, and then what kind of mentality do you want to build in this linebacker core?
Well, I think it all starts with leadership and competitive spirit. I mean, you want guys who love to compete, and I think we have that. I think at the very start of who these guys are, they're competitors, and we want to compete. We want to compete at a high level every day.
All right. There you go, new linebackers coach, and then also you have a George Brooks coming in over from.
This is Steve. He wants a car, this car, and this is how he's going to get a great deal.
Let's get that out of there. Anyway, and then you got George Brooks coming over from Minnesota. You see what he did with the linebacking core over there. He's going to be like an assistant or a special assistant or whatever they call it. They got all kind of different roles with these guys right now. And he's already had a tour of duty with the Cowboys, coached Dexter Coakley, Dat Wynn. You've seen what those guys did, and you've seen what those guys did over with Minnesota with Hendricks, Anthony Barr. Those guys were a good wrecking crew. I think Hendricks was all pro or Pro Bowler again, and Anthony Barr. I liked him ever since he came out of college, and he's did nothing but develop and get better. And they've had a really steady, strong defense over there. So you got a good little mix. But just from hearing what you thought, kind of what do you guys think about this linebacker coaching. From the outside looking in, I would say you love the experience. You love the know-how because McCurley was with my gosh, our coach Mike McCarthy. So they already have a history. And if you look at just kind of what Mike McCarthy has already done, he's basically brought a lot of guys that already had coaching experience with him. So there won't be this kind of let's get familiar with each other. I don't know you, you don't know me, but I like you and I'm going to bring you on. This is a more of a situation where I do know you. You have coached under me, and it's going to be more of a smoother transition. Just listen by what he was saying was, a lot of effort. Looks like he says he's a demanding coach, but he says he wants a lot of effort, a lot of leadership is going to be huge with him, and we'll see. That means if you're talking about leadership, I can see a Sean Lee coming back. We'll jump on Sean Lee in a second, but let's jump on our first player because I don't want to hold y'all. I always say I don't want to hold y'all and then I'm talking an hour and a half, but I'm not going to do that tonight. So let's get to our first guy, and you know who it is. Mr. CVE, Jaylon Smith, J Smooth. Some people were kind of down on him. I think this year with me, I predicted at the beginning of the season, I put on a poll on my Big Game James page on my Facebook, and I said who would have the most tackles this year? Would it be LVE or Jaylon Smith? A lot of people went with LVE because they see what he did last year. He had 140 tackles as a rookie, and they thought he was just going to build on that. Me personally, I thought Jaylon would take more of the dominant role because it was another year in the system. I thought this last year was the year where you finally started him getting back to where he wanted to be as far as the player he was at Notre Dame. Do I think he's still that player? No, because I think when you have an injury like that, you're probably never going to be 100% like you were, but he's damn good. And I predicted that he would have more tackles than LVE, and I also predicted these were my season stats for Jaylon Smith going into this past season. I said he'd have 140 tackles. I said he would have 5 sacks, and I said he would have 2 interceptions. He ended up having 142 tackles. I was only 2 off. He had 6 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. I said 5, so he was 2.5 off the pace. I said 2 interceptions. He didn't have any. We get that. That's okay. And tackles for loss, he had 2. Pass defense, 9. The biggest thing to me, 16 games played, 16 games started. So we see if we're looking at Jaylon Smith as a whole, you got to give nothing, tip your hats to this dude. I mean, we saw that injury at Notre Dame. We heard that he was never going to play again. We saw what he looked like. You know, he had a red shirt his whole rookie year. Then we saw what he looked like in 2017. A lot of people were like, man, he ain't never going to be the same. He is never going to be able to come back. That knee is not the same. That lateral movement, backpedaling, opening the hips with that knee, it just didn't look the same. And you got to give this man big ups for having a career-threatening injury. And I've never seen anybody come back and play from drop foot, ever. So the fact that he came back with a reckless abandon, made his first Pro Bowl this season, lobbied himself, and he got into the Pro Bowl. So you can't get mad at somebody who had almost a career-threatening injury to come back in another year where he adds on more tackles, 142 tackles. That's pretty beastly for somebody who had a bad injury. But I guess a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but people, including myself, so let me not lie, I was frustrated with Jaylon because I just felt like he was pushing his brand. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong because you have to get money outside of football, and what he's doing with the minority, black businesses, all the way around. He's a good dude, so I'm not even trying to bash him, but I just felt like he got maybe a little Hollywood at the end. But I am very happy with Jaylon Smith. He got his nice contract. He was rewarded for that. Nobody saw that coming at all. I didn't think he was going to get extended, but it was a perfect time for them to do it because they extended him right before he got these 142 tackles. He might have wanted more money, so the Cowboys were smart on that. They should have been smart on Dak Prescott with this kind of stuff, but they didn't. They did it with Leal. They did it with Jaylon, but they won't do it with these other guys, which they should have, but that's a whole nother story. But as far as Jaylon Smith, I like where he's at. Do I feel like can he get better? Yes, he can definitely get better. And I feel like this past season, that Pro Bowl, I feel like is going to push him to go to even higher heights. I like the way they have him. I like the pick. I like that he's in the stable, and I think he's going to continue to get better. Does he have some holes? But I think the main holes in his game is more so when Ray Lewis was crying about having a big man up front. Dallas never had big men up front. We never had the big fat boys. They had the rotational tackles, the tackles that are 285, 290, 300, but it's a light 300, not the big fat boys. And you got to understand, when these teams that were going after our linebackers, the Green Bays and the Minnesotas and even the Buffalo Bills, they were getting to the second level because they were moving away our front line. They were not doing their job. So it makes it harder for you as a linebacker when you're trying to come in and make tackles when you got the second level of the offensive line coming at you, putting blocks on you. Got to shed that block again, and then you got to make the tackle. So it was partly probably Jaylon Smith because he was missing some tackles. He was guessing the wrong holes toward the end of the year. To me, I think he was still favoring that knee. It could have been just me, but it looked like he wouldn't put pressure on it at times. But just him and LVE were never really in sync like they were in 2018, and you can kind of see it. And I think it kind of stressed LVE and it stressed Jaylon. It seemed like they were never on the same page at the same time. You get what I'm saying? And when they're both on the same page cooking, this defense is so much more dynamic, and that's why we hope for a big triumphant return from LVE. But if you're looking at Jaylon Smith as our core, I'm happy with Jaylon Smith, and I'm happy moving forward. He's a young guy. He's still getting better. He's still going to continue to improve. So if you're talking about am I satisfied or feel good with that aspect of our linebacking core with Jaylon Smith, I am. What's your thoughts with him? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's just it's a situation where you have, he was really pushing his brand, with the Cowboys. I mean, it's a big brand, and, I can't really say anything about that. I really like him to focus on football, but outside endeavors, I can't never tell a man to not get his money. You get what I'm saying? I can never tell a man to not get his money, and that's what he needs to do. So, I mean, we can't really hate on that because if you had a brand like that, you probably were promoted too. I'm not making any excuses for him. I would like him to be a little less Hollywood this season, and hopefully that will happen. We'll see. But if we're talking about Jaylon, I like where he's at. Playing the mic, the middle, I think that's where he's going to stay. I don't see LVE doing that. I think he's going to be more of the sound backer and probably keep Sean Lee at the wheel because I believe they are going to bring Sean Lee back. That's my opinion on it. Sean Lee's out there going to look and see what's out there. Can he start this and that? But his best place is Dallas. Nobody's really going to take a chance on, even though he did play in 16 games this past season. I don't feel like there's going to be teams that are going to really waste their time on wondering if this dude is going to be able to play or is he not going to be able to play because he's never had a healthy season except last year. 34 going on 34 years old. I just don't see a huge market for Sean Lee. So that's why I see him coming back to the Dallas Cowboys. For what? I don't know. He took a pay cut last year. I think he should be on a low salary this year, and he should be a backup. That's where these other guys should come into play, and we'll see what happens. I don't think the draft is heavy as far as linebackers go, but I feel like they're still going to have to jump in that draft some kind of way and get a linebacker because, to me, I'm still scary about LVE's neck. It's a neck, and as long as he has that neck thing going on, it's always going to have caution for me because you can have rehabbing or whatever, but this dude actually had neck surgery. So to me, that's a whole different world when you're having neck surgery. Not having a neck injury, but you're having neck surgery. So when you have neck surgery, I believe that changes a whole damn game. And it's always going to keep me on 10 with that. So, like I said, Jaylon Smith, I'm good on Jaylon. Let's jump over to LVE. Like I said, LVE is the guy that, I mean, I don't know if we can really say he regressed. I just feel like he had an injury-prone season. Still with the stats this year, 9 games started, still had 72 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 0.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 pass defense, 9 games started. So you take 9 into 72, you were still averaging 8 tackles a game. Now, there were some games where we saw LVE missing tackles, guessing the wrong hole. That was early in the season. I think him and Jaylon were both trying to diagnose the plays, and they were overrunning plays. They were diagnosing the holes, and running backs were getting in on us. I mean, Sean Lee too. They had a lot of missed tackles between those three guys, and it really hurt kind of the back end, that middle part of our defense, because of the missed tackles and the missed holes and getting blocked and not being able to get off those blocks. So I think as a whole, as a linebacking core, it took a step back from 2018. We can all probably agree with that. But going forward, if you have a healthy LVE and you have a Jaylon Smith coming back, and even if you have a Sean Lee, that's not a bad linebacking core. We'll talk about these other guys who are free agents and see if they can come back. But even with those three guys right there, even with the step back that they took last year, that's still a pretty good linebacking core going into 2020. Better than a lot of starting linebacker cores in the NFL right now. If you were telling me you had a Sean Lee, a Jaylon Smith, and an LVE, yeah, you'd be pretty happy. So I'm not bashing that, but my thing with Sean Lee, I'm just kind of done with the tour of duty with him. But let's talk about LVE. Had the neck surgery, successful neck surgery. He posted on his Instagram that he's itching to play. He's ready to play. Got a lot of thumbs up. I had Patrick Walker on from CBS Sports, and we talked, and I told him, I said, listen, man, I'm still scared about that neck. He said he talked to a variety of people who are really close in the organization. I trust Patrick Walker. He always comes with that fire and correct knowledge. He doesn't put out that BS. So I really will listen to him. And he said he talked to numerous people during our interview, numerous people who did not know each other about LVE's neck. They all gave a ringing endorsement. Now, could they give the ringing endorsement because they don't want bad information to come out? Because I know the Cowboys will like to do that. That's, I think, the reason why I'm still a little nervous, and I have to see it. I have to see LV in them pads. I got to see him hit. I'll be in training camp this year again, and I'm going to be intentionally watching him, and I'm going to see if they let him have some days off or they let him rest these days. That's the main thing I'm going to be looking at, because if I see those type of things, then that's going to tell me that neck ain't all the way there. What up, Thurston Howe III? What's up, Stephen Arthur? Almighty Bones, how you doing, big dog? Remember, like, subscribe, donate, share this, man. Subscribe. Get on these subscriptions. I told you I want 5K by the end of this football season, so I need them subscriptions. So anybody's out there, you haven't been a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get your notifications up so you know when I go live, you can go on. And if you'd like to donate to help grow the nation, you can do that as well. We definitely appreciate it because, like I said, a lot of those things that you do for that, be secure that they are going back into something that we're here to make something great. Nothing just to kick it with. We're here to make it great. So that's what I'm going to say about that. If you would like to do that, that's a great thing. No. I am tired of the Chris Covington thing. I'm going to just tell you that right now. I am tired of the Chris Covington thing because they drafted him, and we have not seen one thing of this dude. One thing, y'all cut him, you bring him back. You put him on the practice squad, you bring him back. You had a kid named Justin Phillips last year, who I'm not going to say was a beast, but he was a pretty active player, and he was showing up in the preseason. You got rid of him to keep Chris Covington, who has done absolutely jack poo. He has done nothing in his time with the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know why they keep him on the roster. He's done nothing. If you're going to keep this linebacker on the roster, play him, please, because I'm not seeing anything on the field from him at all. So why do you keep him on the team and you are not getting nothing out of him? That doesn't make any sense. He wasn't even great to me at Indiana. I watched him at Indiana. I'm out here in the Big Ten country. I seen him. He wasn't that great then, and just to get him on the field, I haven't seen anything. So I don't know what the point is that you keep on keeping this dude when there's nothing that's showing with him. Exactly, and the same reason why Noah Brown is still on here, and he doesn't need to be on there as well. But let's talk about LVE, though. Like I said, if the neck is good, I think LVE has a bounce-back season, a really good, because one thing I feel about LVE, he's passionate about this game, okay? Now, I don't know if it's a night and day situation with him and Jaylon Smith, but what I will tell you is this. I don't feel like LVE will push a brand like maybe a Jaylon Smith. Nothing's wrong with that. But LVE is, to me, a consummate football player, like the old school football junkie player. He's one of them young, infectious kid that just football. I feel like he's that type of kid, and I feel like he eats and drinks and sleeps it. So with that being said, that gets you excited. Let him get healthy. Let LVE get healthy, because I believe when you have a healthy LVE, a good Jaylon Smith, I feel like when those two are on point, when those two are together, they vibe really good together. I think they're really good friends. I don't know, but just it seems they have a great chemistry on the field. And I really love to see them show what they showed in 2018, because our defense, that helped take our defense. DeMarcus Lawrence played good, those guys. But the key really to me was those two linebackers really playing good. Case in example, when the Dallas Cowboys played New Orleans Saints, when they came into Dallas in 2018, them linebackers were everywhere. Even when they played them in New Orleans, they were everywhere. They had a bounce-back game. Jaylon Smith and LVE bounced back in that game, were everywhere, all over Kamara. They were playing top-notch football, flying to the ball, making the first tackle, not missing tackles, making the right read, filling the holes. They're playing lights out. And if you can get those two guys playing at a high level at 2020, we'll see what George Brooks and what McCauley will do with them. But if you get those two playing at a high level, that's going to make our defense go right back to where I feel like it could have been on that 2018 level. But those two, to me, are the key. Jaylon Smith and LVE must bounce back, must coincide, must play together, must be injury-free for this defense to really go where it wants to go. Them two guys, I know there's a lot of pieces on the defensive line. We want to have Robert Quinn back, DeMarcus Lawrence, things of that nature. But when you got these two guys in particular that are playing really good, it makes this Dallas defense a whole lot better. What's up? What's up, Tony? What's up, K Swagger 33? What's up, Juwan James? How you doing? I'm going to keep it real. I'm not giving no more predictions, season predictions. I did that, and you know what? I said we're going to be 12-4, end up 8-8, and I stopped giving game predictions because they just frustrated me. With this staff, this veteran staff, and we'll have to see what they do in free agency and the draft. But with the core players they have right now, you can at least get 9-10 wins out of this team. I mean, even with the schedule that they have, you can at least get 9 to 10 wins out of this team. It's definitely possible, especially with the veteran-laden coaching staff you have. That should not be out of the ordinary, or like you shouldn't be coming back thinking, oh, this is a 5-win team. No, you should already have the expectation this should be no less than 8 wins. I'm thinking it should be around 9 and 10 just because of the coaching, and you have a core of talent. It's not like you're coming to the talent and it's bare. So, yes, you should definitely be that team that should be able to squeak those wins out. And I don't care. This is a 5-year deal, but to me, this is still a win-now mode. This isn't no rebuilding mode that the Cowboys have with this staff. This is a win-now mode. This is a mode you heard Jerry Jones say, hey, I want to do what Andy Reid did, leave Philadelphia, come to Kansas City and get a Super Bowl, but I want it in less time. He did it in 7 years. He got a 5-year contract. Jerry said he wants it in less time. So that means to me is let's get this done, and let's get this done quickly. Yeah, I don't think that schedule's that hard. I mean, they're playing the AFC North this year. I don't think that schedule's crazy this year. It's definitely a winnable schedule. And, I mean, even the teams they played this past year and they had lost the 8 games. I mean, we watched the games. Can we really say that we really got it handed to us, except probably maybe the Packers that jumped on the Cowboys quick? Every other game, it was a lot of the Cowboys making dumb mistakes, bad coaching moves, just really killing ourselves and shooting ourselves in the foot because they were competitive in pretty much every game. Now, we saw toward the end of the year with the Bears and things of that nature, I think it was just like, you know what, it's over for Jason Garrett. I just don't I don't know if the team quit on him, but I do feel like it's a situation where like, yeah, we're just not listening to this anymore. We're just not trying to hear it any longer. Let me pull up. So, my thing is, like I said, Vander Esch, Jaylon Smith must come back big, strong, healthy. Those two need to be healthy if you're talking about the Cowboys having a good defense this year. Those two must be healthy, and they must bounce back from 2019. If the Cowboys want to have any kind of a decent defense, those two have to be playing there pretty much all season, in my opinion. No, I think it was a 5-year deal. Somebody jump in there, let me know, make sure, but I believe it was a 5-year deal. So let's go to our Mr. General Lee. And, people gave me hell over Sean Lee. They gave me a lot of hell over him. Man, why you hate Sean Lee? Why you hate Sean Lee? I don't even hate Sean Lee, I guess. And I really don't even have a right to even really be mad at him. He didn't do anything really bad. First time, 16-game season, played all 16 games. What has Dallasman, what have the fans, the media, all been saying about Sean Lee can never.
All right, mock draft time.
You know what I mean? So it's really a situation where 86 tackles, not a bad season at all. 86 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 4 pass defense, 1 interception. Like I said, 16 games played, which was huge. And I believe Sean Lee is going to come back. I just don't see a reason why he doesn't come back and the Cowboys don't have them on their team, because I don't think the market is going to be huge for him because he's aging, going to be 34. He's been injury prone, and he's probably going to look to start. And I don't see a team that's going to just be having Sean Lee start because of the injury situation. Maybe, maybe not, but I still feel like he comes back to the Cowboys. He loves the Cowboys. He's that good old boy, Cowboy guy, and I feel like this is what he's going to do, and he's not leaving. So it's just really going to see what kind of contract we'll have, because I believe Sean Lee is coming back. Now, Sean Lee had a lot of missed tackles this year. I think he had at least 10 missed tackles this season. Okay, he had some games where he played really good. That Giants game, he came back and he looked like the Sean Lee of old. But we've seen some other games, that Minnesota game, that Buffalo game, the Bears, the end of the season against the Redskins. Those weren't good Sean Lee games, okay? That wasn't the Sean Lee we're accustomed to. But when you're looking at depth, and if you're looking at familiarity, and maybe you're feeling more comfortable instead of throwing other guys in the fire, they're going to bring a Sean Lee back. I just really see that happening. I guess I'm cool with it. I just feel like, I'm just tired of the Sean Lee thing, man. Maybe it's just me, but I'm just tired of the Sean Lee thing. What up, Mark Scott? How you doing? KG, how you doing, big dog? Okay, yeah, I got you, Ori. Hell no on some Josh Norman. Nope, no Josh Norman, dog. That's Josh Normal. He is done. You get what I'm saying? He don't need him in Dallas. What is he gonna add? Don't need that. Yeah, I don't see Sean Lee starting on the new coaching staff. Not in my opinion. I just feel like he's better coming off the bench because of the wear and tear. I feel like the reason why he played in the 16-game season this season was because of he didn't start. You know what I mean? He didn't play in every single game like that, and I think that's one of the reasons why. The less time you're playing the whole game, the less snaps, I feel like the less injuries are going to happen. Dallas got a new strength coach too, so hopefully the hamstring injuries may go away. But in my opinion, I really hope that they bring back a Joe Thomas, who I'm getting ready to show right now. He may cost some money. I don't know. I don't know what the market will be for a Joe Thomas as we switch to him right quick. No, I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I told you I don't feel like Dez. It wouldn't bother me if Dez did come back, but I just don't see what's his name? Dad going to these names are just going Stephen Jones. I just don't see Stephen Jones. Once he said he's done with you, I just don't see Stephen Jones saying, okay, come on back, Dez. Come on. I just don't see it happening. I see Stephen Jones playing to the media and letting the story go and go and go until it can't go anymore. But what do I know? I mean, he may bring him back, but I just don't see it happening. I feel like they're going to want to stay younger and keep these young guys involved, and that's why I don't see that. But if you're talking about the Sean Lee right now, I don't think that has anything to do with Sean Lee and Dez Bryant. These are grown men, okay? And this is a business. So this isn't a business of worrying about people's feelings if, oh, he called him a snake or they called him a name. These are grown-ass men. These are grown. These aren't kids. If you can't get over somebody calling you a name or saying something about you, then something's wrong with you. You have no control over who they sign. You don't have any control over it. So what? That doesn't matter. You're at the end of the day, you're trying to win football games. Who gives a hell if you're best friends or y'all talk to each other after the game is over? I played on teams where I didn't like a few of my players on my team. Didn't like them at all. But we're in one common goal is to win some kind of a championship. So you lay all that other stuff to the side. All them personal feelings you lay to the side. So I don't think that has any kind of bearing on anything because there's a whole bunch of people in the locker room that don't like each other. That's a fact. I'm just seeing what you guys got to say. Yeah, I'm just over it. I don't want no Josh Norman. I'm sorry. I'm cool. I'm cool on Josh Norman. Okay. That's just my opinion. I'm cool on Josh Norman. What's up, Jawan James? Yeah. See, here's the thing. Joe Thomas. You see the stats right here, and then I'm gonna pull up something else right quick. Joe Thomas. Let's go right here, right quick to Joe Thomas. He ain't cost a lot of money either. So what we got? Joe Thomas, just turned 29 years old, unrestricted free agent, 18, 1.8 mil. Not bad. And I wonder what kind of market he will have because he didn't really play a lot of snaps with the Cowboys, okay? In these 2 years that he's had with the Cowboys, he has not played a lot of snaps, all right? So I wonder what kind of market would be out there for him if he were to say, hey, I want to see what's out there. I just don't know what kind of market would be. I think he's a starting linebacker. He's shown he can. I mean, because even when he played under Mike McCarthy, his best year was under Mike McCarthy was 2016. He had 70 tackles that year, and he played in 16 games and only started 7 and still had 70 tackles. You get what I'm saying? That was under Mike McCarthy. So, and under, I believe, McCurley as well. So he's had some good seasons. So that's why I can see him coming back because he's already got the familiarity. The Cowboys need a linebacker because I don't feel like you would want to go all the way in and trust that neck issue with LVE. And in his spot duty, he has played physical and he's played special teams as well. So you got a double dipper when you got Joe Thomas. You got somebody who can play multiple positions at the linebacker position, and you got a guy who can play special teams, and that's a good thing. And he's 28, 29 years old. I don't think he's going to cost a lot of money. You could still get him for another 2, maybe 3-year deal. And with the familiarity with the guys he's already played under, Mike McCarthy and I believe McCurley as well, you already have that understanding and knowledge. So if I was him, just me, if the market's not big and you already got guys you've already played under and had your best seasons under, why would you leave to go somewhere else? So that's why I can see them getting back Joe Thomas when they got Mike McCarthy and those guys in the fold. And me personally, I want Joe Thomas back. I get it, Sean Lee, but they play a lot more nickel and dime defenses in the NFL because it's a pass happy. So a lot more times you see that 4-2-5 going around the Deacon defense. You got your 2 linebackers, 5 guys on the back end. So you're going to see a lot of times where Lee is not that guy going to be on the field anyway because he's not that guy he was in coverage as he used to be before. He still has the mind and the great anticipation, but I just don't feel like the body is as quick as the mind is telling him. So that's why I want to see a healthy Joe Thomas, re-sign him, and if you go to that 3 linebacking core, go with the Joe Thomas, a Jaylon Smith, and an LVE if he's healthy, and then you can bring the Sean Lees off the bench. And then also we're going to talk about possibly Malcolm Smith coming back in the fold. I thought the last 2 games of the season he came back. He had 5 tackles in those 2 games, but was very effective in that time. Justin Marsh-Lillard, he's a free agent. I could see them kind of walking away from him. And we already mentioned Chris Covington, who I think is basically nothing. I think that was just a wasted draft because you're not doing anything with him. We'll talk about this one kid who everybody was high on, and there's the great unknown. Mr. Luke Gifford. He's the great unknown. And I hope he's not going to be like Sean Lee and have the Sean Lee type career because he's already been injured. That's the thing that I'm leery about him. Now, we saw him in training camp. I actually was going to interview him in training camp. He was standing right in front of me. I didn't know exactly who he was. I thought I did, but I didn't know exactly who he was. And wasn't nobody really talking to him. He had a few people talking to him, but he was giving great answers, and I should have just freaking interviewed him, and I'm pissed off I didn't now. He was showing up all over training camp. All over training camp, was all over the field. Great size, 6'3", a legit 6'3", 242, close to 245 pounds, all over the field, sideline to sideline guy. Can play multiple positions, is a playmaker in my opinion, and just you were really excited, like, man, what can he do? You saw what he did in the preseason games. I think he had an interception, had a couple tackles, but then he had the injury. So he has the ankle injury, keeps him out for half the season. As soon as he comes back in, I believe he breaks his forearm right when he comes back in. So that throws some red flags to me, makes me get a little nervous because I don't want another injury-prone linebacker like a Sean Lee, okay? But I feel like the arrow is definitely pointing up, especially when he was undrafted. Nobody was talking about him, and the Cowboys made sure they were keeping him close to that 53-man roster so nobody could take him. So they were thinking very, very highly of him. So I feel like they're going to have a plan for him. Luke Gifford just has to stay healthy. But if a Luke Gifford can stay healthy, and he showed what he showed in the preseason in that training camp, and he can build on that, I think the Cowboys have something there, and that gets you excited because then when you're moving away from Sean Lee, you got a young guy who is showing you a lot of good things, and the biggest thing about it, he was undrafted, so he's cheap. Yeah, Rashad Jones, I'm good. He's old now. Back in the day, Rashad Jones was the guy. But he's like I think he's like 31, 32, maybe 33. I just don't feel like he's that dude anymore. We'll see. I think, when I talked to Bobby Belt, he said they're going to really try to dip in the cornerback free agency because they're thinking Byron Jones is going to be gone. I don't think there's any good corners out there in free agency, not the dogs that you really want. There could be a stopgap type guy that you could probably sign, but why do that? But if we're talking about the safety position, Rashad Jones, I don't think the Cowboys are going to touch him. I think they already cut him, or if they haven't cut him, they're already going to. Yeah, Logan Ryan, yep. And Chris Harris from Denver, I believe. But Chris Harris, he's like 31 now, and he's getting $12 million. You get what I'm saying? He only had one interception last year, so why would you spend that kind of money? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, why are you don't go after these 31, 32s, 33-year-old corners. No, you don't need to do that. If that's the case, then just get somebody younger because, like I said, this defensive crop of free agency defensive backs is just not good to me. But this guy right here, Luke Gifford, he's a great unknown, dog. If he can really stay healthy, and maybe because the injury could have helped him because now you get in the weight room, you get bigger, you get stronger, you come up, you get used to that NFL game. I think it's going to help him going forward, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him. Now, there's another guy that they have listed at linebacker, another guy that I was super high on, and that's Jalen Jelks. Juwan James. Darrence Davis. I like Daniel Wise as well from Kansas. He showed a lot in training camp. Couldn't really get in the rotation because there was just so many guys, but you can see him possibly getting the rotation this year. If they don't address it in free agency, which I think they may, they're definitely going to hit it in the draft this year. And from what I keep on hearing, Tristan Hill, like they said, is a dead man walking, so they're going to try to probably unload on him and get rid of him because I just don't hear a lot of positive things about him. So Daniel Wise will definitely, I feel like, get an opportunity because he's a guy that has a crazy motor, always going. He's not like he's a 3 tech because, I mean, he's just not big enough to play the 1 tech in my opinion. But he's a guy that is a scrapper. A little undersized, but he's scrappy, and is always full go. And I definitely think you'll be able to see some work on him this year. So I like the Daniel Wise. I liked him last year. I was surprised he went undrafted, but that was a great thing for the Cowboys because anytime you get a guy that you really, really like, and he goes undrafted and you can scoop him, the biggest thing that you're happy about is you ain't got to pay him a lot of money because he ain't going to cost a lot of money. And that's the biggest thing. When you can get these guys cheap, when you don't have to get these guys in the first and second round and you can get those guys in third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and undrafted, and they can actually be a player, you're clapping and doing backflips because you ain't got to pay them a lot of money. They're cheap. I definitely think they're going to give Westry a shot. They should. He's a 6'4" corner. He's every bit of 6'4", possibly maybe even 6'5". That kid is tall as hell. I stood next to him. He's tall as hell. He's all legs. Okay, he is long as hell. His legs is probably seem like as long as my whole damn body. Running a 4.3, yeah. Why would you not? And he signed a 3-year deal. He signed a 3-year contract with the Cowboys, 3-year undrafted rookie free agent contract. So he's still going to be in the fold. So yeah, you're definitely going to give him a shot. You would be dumb as hell not to for a 6'4" corner running a 4.3, and he had a full year of sitting and possibly getting bigger because he definitely wasn't ready. He wasn't a physical corner. He did not like contact, and he did not like to tackle. I don't like when cornerbacks don't like to do that, but I get it. But if you're a cornerback nowadays, you got to tackle. So he's definitely going to have to show that more than anything else. I think the coverage ability is there, but his technique, he was so damn raw and just and his technique and things that he did. You needed that whole season just to kind of get him together. But if you're any kind of a coach, hell yeah, you take that raw athleticism and you don't just throw that away or cut that. He has to be absolutely hot waste, garbage, trash for you to just get rid of that. Stephen Arthur, what do I think about the XFL? I saw a couple games today, real good. I was watching Cardell Jones today. I think it was the Red Team. I don't know their name. Sorry, I don't follow the XFL like that, but Cardell Jones was doing his thing. Pumphrey, I believe, played at San Diego State. He was a guy that I seen in college, and he was running hard. I think it's a good product. I definitely like watching the games, especially in this past time when NFL's not going on. I think it's a good side product, and I think it's a product good for the players because I like it to be a good farm system for the NFL. Starboard 50, as far as you're talking about with Tristan Hill, yeah. I think the biggest thing with Tristan Hill, to me, I think Tristan Hill has talent. I mean, I think he does. I just feel like he's what the red flag said he was. He's lazy. I mean, he ran hot and cold. When I watched him in training camp, you could see he just looked like he was there some days and he wasn't there some days. And when he wasn't there some days, he just didn't seem like he put in that effort. And that was concerning to me because I was looking at that. And me and Skywalker Steele, we talked about it on our show. And I said, even before the season, I said, the kid's got some talent. But, man, that hot and cold thing, I didn't like that at all. And I felt like that was going to be a problem. They had those red flags, and they have those red flags for a reason. They're not always right on a player. But these red flags, I believe, were right. And you saw how many games he was in inactive. And, you know, he really just wasn't strong enough this year. Just like you said, Starboard 50, the body type of him, he needed to get bigger. He needed to get stronger. He was getting pushed around. Now, his first step is very good. I think he's got a very good first step. I think his sideline lateral movement is very good. He doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves. But if he could get really strong in the offseason, I think you could see something in him. But from what I'm hearing from the guys I know that really mess with these Cowboys, they're saying that a lot of people ain't feeling Tristan Hill right now, and then if he doesn't really show that, you know, he definitely could be a trade bait type guy. What up, Montana 808? Yes, I seen that Kyle Kuro. I seen that. That's crazy, man, because he played he was a safety at Northwestern, right? And then they converted him to linebacker, and I think it was like number 41 or 44. And they kept him at Dallas for like a couple of years, and even Brian Broaddus said, hey, he's an active kid. Let's see what he can do. So I'm happy for him that he's over there because, you know, he didn't get it a chance in Dallas, but, you know, the odds were against him because, like I said, he was a safety at Northwestern. They converted him to a linebacker. So I'm just good to see him out there, and he got him an interception. So that was a good thing. Big shout-outs to Kyle out there. What up, Muggs Maxwell? Come on, y'all. Donation. Yeah, Rob Davis need to get a hold of him, Juwan. That's the life coach. Sit down and have a life talk with Tristan Hill. Either you get it together or you cut. That should be the talk. Get it together, you cut. It shouldn't be a long talk. Get it together, you cut. Because that's what the talk should be. Yeah, that's Deion Jones. Deion Jones was a player, though. Deion Jones was already good. Kyle was okay at Northwestern. He wasn't great. Deion Jones was a baller, and so that just kind of went hand in hand. Kyle never had that opportunity, in my opinion. But let's talk about the Jalen Jelks kid. They have Jalen Jelks listed as a linebacker. I wrote an article on him when he came out of college. I loved the pick. Going in the 7th round, that was crazy to me. When you watched his tape at Oregon, he played so many different positions, and he played positions that he really shouldn't be playing because he was undersized. 6'5", he was about maybe 250, maybe 250. He's playing under tackle, the 3, playing the 1 tech. I mean, you're getting swallowed by these guys. Even when he played defensive end, you're getting swallowed by these tackles. Just wasn't big enough. But the kid had a lot of pass rush moves, good hands, versatile. And he's just a guy that I believe he can do whatever. I had a quick interview with him, and, I asked him, would he be apt to playing linebacker? I asked him that question, or would he be cool with playing linebacker? So I already had that in my head at training camp. That's why I asked him, are you cool with, playing a stand-up linebacker? He gave me the status quo answer. Yeah, I'll do whatever the team tells me. It don't matter. That's not the answer I wanted to hear, but what the hell ever. But, yeah, I asked him because I like to see him stand up. I like to see him be like that 6'5", 245 Rolando McClain, even LVE. Is not as big as LVE as far as the thickness, but man, he's every bit of that size, and he looked pretty good in the preseason. I have high hopes for Jalen Jelks. I hope they can do something with him. I wonder if they're going to keep him strictly at linebacker because that's what they have his position. They don't have him at DN at all. They have him strictly at linebacker, so I'm wondering if they're going to convert him strictly there. Because he played DN, I didn't see him standing up a lot in college. I seen him playing multiple positions down the line, but I never seen him stand up. So that's going to be an interesting player to see going forward. What are they going to do with Jalen Jelks? I'm very interested to see how he transitions if he becomes a full-time linebacker. I think it would be a great addition. I hope he can do it because I love big linebackers. The Rolando McClain, that types. I love those big type linebackers, and I think he has a lot of potential. He was doing very good in camp. I'm not glad he got injured or put in injury reserve, but I'm glad something did happen. Because I thought a team was going to try to pluck him and take him and steal him off the practice squad or anything else. Or if he didn't clear waivers, they were going to steal him. So I was very happy that he was able to hit injury reserve and they were able to save him because I feel like he's going to have a bright future in Dallas. That's kind of my opinion on the Jalen Jelks thing. See what y'all talking about. Mikael McKay is within our team. I don't know how Lance Lenoir is still on the squad, y'all. I'm going to just keep it all the way funky. How is Lance Lenoir still there every single year and he can't never get on the field? Yes, Starboy 50. They're talking about making a splash. I already said that. I said that the last month and a half, almost 2 months, that I felt the Cowboys were going to do something big. They hadn't did something in a while besides, the Amari Cooper thing. But when you got a whole new staff and the Cowboys, how Jerry Jones wants to get everybody riled up, get everybody pumped up for the new staff and everything, I think he makes some kind of splash this year. I don't know what. If it's a trade down or a trade, I just feel like something's going to happen. Something's in the air and something's going to happen. K Swagger 33. Jalen Jelks probably would be better in a 3-4, but I feel like he's versatile enough. And the thing that I like about this is, remember what Mike Nolan, Tom Sulin, these guys said. What was the problem we were talking about with the last regime? They were trying to fit these players into their system. These guys are saying it doesn't matter what system we're running. We want playmakers and we want players, and we'll worry about that other thing. So that gives me excitement for Jalen Jelks. Yes, I think he probably would be a better 3-4 player, but I think he can definitely flow in this 4-3, especially when you have a guy like Nolan who has run the 3-4 and the 4-3. So I think you're going to see a variety of defensive looks that's going to be able to help and cater to him as well. Yeah, he was light. If you saw him at Oregon, man, he was getting overmatched. But he balled out. I think he had like 8, 9 sacks his junior year. Is kind of fell off a little bit senior year, but he balled out. And Montana 808, he loves some Jeffrey Okudah. They're not getting him. They're not trading up. He's going to be a top 5 pick. Dallas ain't going up that far from 17th to pick up some Okudah when you got a C.J. Henderson, a Christian Fullerton. You got Blakeney. You got a lot of other corners. Not a lot, but you got a decent amount of corners that if you stay put at 17, they'll probably still be there for you. They're not getting no Jeffrey Okudah, no matter what we're all talking about, unless he super drops. And I don't see it. Every publication has him a top 5, and he's that good of a corner. Dallas is not going to move up that far to get him. That ain't going to be that type of splash. Dorrance Armstrong Jr., yes. You know, he looked great in camp, and I thought he was going to do a lot more this year, but he didn't. Hopefully we'll see a lot. It's going to be interesting to happen with Robert Quinn because if Quinn doesn't come back, now you got a whole bunch of guys that you don't know what's about. So you're going to see Dorrance Armstrong Jr. probably get first crack and first dibs of what's going on out there on that line. And I think he can show some things. He had a few. I think he got 1 sack this year and had a couple would-be sacks, had 1 sack where he missed. So he was there with some opportunities, maybe with some even more playing time. We can see that. I think I like Dorrance Armstrong Jr. I'm not giving up on him, though. A lot of people love Isaiah Simmons, but once again, you know, Carolina Panthers, you got some other teams that are looking for that hybrid, can play the safety, can play a linebacker, multiple positions. Simmons can do that. And unless Simmons drops to like a 13 or 14, that's the only time I see the Cowboys, if they stay at 17, that would move up for something like that. But I don't see Simmons dropping that far. But we all know how the draft goes. The draft is a funny thing. You got guys that you might be a top 5, can drop to 15, 16. It's just all how the board goes. And there's a lot of time from here until this draft. And just like we talked about, free agency starts March 18th. You're going to have – that's a draft before the draft. That's a free agent draft before anything else. So you have to figure out what's going to happen in that free agency before you can really go with that board that you want. You're going to have people that you like and look at and think you know and want, but you need to see what's going to happen in free agency to see what positions that you're going to need to fill in that draft because there are going to be some things that are going down this year in free agency. So you got a lot of stuff that happens before the draft. People are going to get cut. You're going to have players that salary cap is too high. They're going to get cut because they're salary cap casualties. So there's a lot of things that's going to be going on to make what's going to formulate what the Cowboys are going to do. Damon Arnett is good, but he's not going to go early, I don't believe. I think Damon Arnett will go like around the mid-round. You know, we talked about it on the draft roundtable, Montana 808, Jeff Kavanaugh, and I like Damon Arnett because I got to see him. I live out here in Ohio, and you do too, so I know you see him. You probably are a Buckeye fan. I'm not. I'm Texas, 817, baby, but I see him out here. But at the end of the day, Damon could be a guy that could be the double dipper guy if he's available. You could get a corner early and then possibly get maybe him later. That could be the double dip guy, especially I feel like they really are gonna possibly double dip, especially if Byron Jones doesn't come back. If they don't get one in free agency, if they don't get a corner in free agency, they're gonna hit that draft at least a couple corners in. They might do like they did in 2017, where you know they got Muggs Maxwell with the $5 holla. Do you see Crawford staying or getting cut? I would cut him. I've been said. It's not being a hater of Tyrone Crawford. It is not being a hater of Tyrone Crawford at all. But you're 31 years old. You've had multiple injuries the last few years. Even though you had a career year in 2018, 4.5 sacks, that's you're gonna number one have to take the pay cut because you're $8 million on the books. You're taking a pay cut because you're like I think in the top 10 right now as far as the top salaries on Dallas per year. So yeah, you're definitely gonna have to take the pay cut. But why not save that money? What is not saying Tyrone Crawford can't do anything, but what is Tyrone Crawford really going to do? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is he really going to do? I say save that money, put it to some other people, because there's other, especially with this defensive tackle this defensive tackles in free agency is deep and thick and good. You can get somebody possibly. I mean, the guy I've been telling y'all about all day and all night. If I keep on, I just probably slip my name. Jordan Phillips from Buffalo. That's my top guy. That's my number one guy. He made $4 million last year. $4 million. His market value is $6 million. Tyrone Crawford is making $8 to $9 million, and I can get a Jordan Phillips who's 6'6", 340 pounds, who had 10 sacks last year. I think I would go that route. So I'm definitely cool with getting rid of Tyrone Crawford. And why not? I mean, he's been there his whole career. One more year, you're going to cut him next year probably anyway, aren't you? You're probably going to cut Tyrone Crawford anyway next year. So why not save the money, put it to somewhere else, put that towards another free agent or a draft player? It makes more sense to me. Unless he takes a significant pay cut. Hell yeah. I love some Jordan. I've been on this train. There's some other guys that I haven't got to talk about my defensive tackles and safeties. We're going to talk about that. But if we're just talking about what we're talking about right now, Jordan Phillips is my number one guy. Jordan Phillips is my number one guy. Yeah, Stevie Mac 23, that DJ Reader, but I just don't feel like the Houston Texans are going to get rid of him. He's too valuable. That's a big boy. He's had a really good season. That would be a mistake for the Texans to let him go. I don't see that happening. But if you're talking about those cuts, hell yeah. You don't need a Crawford. You can get away with it, although you do need people on the defensive line. You're cutting them anyway next year, so save the money now. Alaway. I kept on messing up his name. I don't even know why he was on the damn team. You should have kept Keith Smith. You should have never brought him. Jamez in for Keith Smith. Keith Smith should have stayed, and you should have got rid of Jamez. That didn't make no damn sense to me. Cam Fleming's bye. You got Mitch Hyatt, who you had paid extra money, who you also, I think you upgraded him and moved him on the 53-man roster so somebody wouldn't poach him. So, no, you can go ahead and use him as your swing tackle because you built him up, and then you still got Brandon Knight as well, who looked good at the right tackle spot. But Chris Jones, yeah, you need to get rid of Chris Jones. You can find a free agent punter. He hasn't been the same since he's had that leg injury, and I think he's just been on the team due to name and probably knocking that dude from Detroit out. But he hasn't been impressive. So if you're going to save money, that's the route to go. I don't know. He did say that I think he did say he was willing to take a pay cut. He's going to have to because they're going to cut him if you don't take a pay cut, and nobody else is going to pay him that salary. Nobody in their right mind is paying no damn Tyrone Crawford no $8 million on no team. No team is paying him that kind of money. Period. Point blank. Facts. So he's going to have to take the pay cut or he's going to get cut. But to me, just go ahead and save the money. Why wait? You're going to cut him anyway next year. Muggs Maxwell, I agree with you. 11 and a half sacks, and I posted a article from Patrick Walker. Man, it's a fire article. Let me see if I can pull that up. It's some good stuff. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. Bear with me right quick, y'all. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up because he had a lot of good nuggets in there. And he was talking about the the Robert Quinn thing. How if they were prioritizing Byron Jones and Robert Quinn, they are prioritizing Robert Quinn over Byron Jones. Because to me, it's better to have a great defensive end than a great corner. Now, I love to have a great corner, but when you're putting that pressure on the ball, that makes your cornerbacks better. We've seen average cornerbacks play good. You know why? Because that front line is nasty, and they're always putting pressure on that quarterback, making him into bad decisions, so you don't have to cover forever. You don't have a good front line. You don't have a pass rush. I don't care how good of a cornerback you are. You have to cover that field for a long time. No, I don't care how good you are. Somebody's going to catch the ball on you, okay? So they're prioritizing Robert Quinn over Byron Jones. But there are going to be teams that are going after Robert Quinn. He's 29 years old, going on 30. He still has some stuff left in the tank. As you can see, 11 and a half sacks. I mean, he looked good, strong, and healthy. So guess what? Teams are always going to covet a defensive end. They are always going to covet that. And if it gets into a bidding war, I don't see the Cowboys jumping out there and having a bidding war with the Robert Quinn. As much as I think they really do like him, I know they like him a lot, but I don't think they get in a bidding war. They're just not going to do that, especially with Stephen Jones, the way he does this cap. Just don't see it happening. I would love for Robert Quinn to come back, but I think it's going to be tough because there's going to be some teams that have some money. Even though Dallas is top 5 in salary cap money this year, there's going to be some teams that might, just out of spite, we're going after him and put that money up. And you're like, hey, that's too rich. We ain't doing that. Yes, sir, Stevie Mac. There's definitely going to be some restructures. That's the name of the game in the NFL, restructure. You sign a fat contract, within a year or two, you're restructuring. Yes, we will get a third, I believe, comp. Let me know. Do we get a comp if we lose Byron Jones? He's played 5 years. Do we get anything if they don't put any kind of a tag on him? I don't think they do, but let me know. Somebody get me on that one. What up, Chris Dantzler? How you doing, big dog? Yes, sir. So, let me see. Let me pull that up because I wanted to show y'all this right quick. It's some good stuff from Patrick Walker. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you are doing a disservice to yourself. Patrick Walker always brings that fire to the flame, and his sources are on point. That's why I like having him on as interviews, everything. He's one of my trusted sources because he never comes with the fake stuff. He just doesn't do it for the engagement of likes or anything like that. Let me see something here, though. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, so we get a third-round comp if we lose Byron Jones. Patrick Walker with the Patrick No C Walker. So it's Patrick No C Walker. Go follow him on Twitter, man. Fire, flame. Always got the hot stuff. I had him on too. Had him on a couple of my interviews. Always brings it and pretty much always on point with what he says. Hold on, I'm pulling this up right quick. See if y'all can see this when I do pull it up. No, I don't. I don't know if time they probably would bring him back, but I don't see why you would. I just don't get it. I think they probably, knowing the Cowboys, they love their players, so I could see them probably bringing him back, though. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to switch to this right quick. I want y'all to read some of this. All right, so you see right here, if you can see this, a lot of this was the Dak Prescott thing about, what they were talking about, and this was all good information that they were talking about. But this was when we were talking about Amari Cooper, Byron Jones. Let's see. It says right here, it's fair to categorize their thoughts on Jones and Quinn as a tug-of-war sorts. If the team misplays their hand, however, they might lose both. So basically what they're saying is they want Robert Quinn really, really bad. You see right here. As far as Quinn goes, they believe they can get something done with him 2 to 3 years, easy out after 2, but they're going to have a competition for him at the market. I'm told a few teams are ready to call and find out his price, and Robert Quinn wants to be an every down rusher. And even there, you see right here with Byron Jones, the feeling that they could possibly double dip at defensive back in the 2020 draft. This means that if there's any bidding war for Jones, they're out and are willing not to use a tag at all, if available, if they see an intriguing prospect as a possible replacement. And that's a guy you need to follow because his information be on Pizoint. On Pizoint. Yeah, but they play around too much, man. These Cowboys, they play around too much. You should have been signed Dak. You don't even need to tag him. You don't have to do it. And like you said, you can tag Byron and Amari. And I was talking with Jeff Kavanaugh. We talked about our linebackers. I don't know if they're good. I still feel like the Cowboys should look in the draft for a linebacker. I don't know really. There's only really kid that I can say that I liked, and I'm gonna pull him up. Let me get his name right quick. What's his name? Gaither. What's his name? Akeem Gaither. What's his name? I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Give me a second. Sorry, y'all. I'm waiting for this to pull up. So we're talking about linebackers in the draft. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's who we're talking about. Linebackers in the draft. So you're talking about linebackers in the draft. Let me get my face off of here. There we go. Sorry about that. We're talking about linebackers in the draft. Malik Harrison, I don't know if he'll be available because I think the Cowboys won't look for a linebacker until late if they even look for one. But the guy that I've been looking at that they may can sneak up on is the Akeem Davis Gaither from Appalachian State linebacker. I mean, we had one before with Dexter Coakley. Wasn't Coakley? Didn't he come from Appalachian State? Didn't Coakley come from Appalachian State? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the guy right there. That's the name that stands out to me, Akeem Davis Gaither. If they get a linebacker and he's available in the late rounds, I think they can possibly scoop him up. Yes. A little bit light in the pants, can put some weight on, but good speed, real good speed. Cowboys love having speed, and if you look at the linebackers right now, they're not huge. But that's a guy that you want to keep on, Akeem Davis Gaither. That's the guy. Malik Harrison, that's another dude I like. David Woodward. But Akeem Davis Gaither is the guy that I'm looking at. If he's around late, Cowboys try to be sneaky and grab him. Let's get them donations popping. Y'all told you I got to get to this draft. Don't be thinking I'm begging. I got to get to this draft, man. It's around the corner. Oh, and I got some people that I'm going to be meeting up there. Wait till you see it. So I'm trying to tell you, this draft is going to be official. We're going to really have that draft popping. I'm still waiting on these tickets. I told y'all they sent me a letter. They sent me an email last week. I could still possibly get tickets to this combine. I should know. What's today? Today is the 15th. It's right around the corner, so I should know, I think, Monday if I got a ticket or not, and I can get out there. Please, football God. Please, football God. Please, football God. Get me to the combine again. I went in 2018. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. Football God, please answer my cry and hear my prayer. I want to go back to the combine. It's nothing like it. I want to give this good coverage. Please hear my cry, football God. You really don't be letting me down, so hear me again. In your name, amen. D. Will, do I want Dez back? Dez don't bother me coming back, but I don't think Stephen Jones is bringing him back. I think he's just playing with the media and not saying too much. I just feel like they're going to invest in these young guys right now. And for real, you really need to go back and check that video, the draft roundtable, because it's a lot of people I've been hearing are talking that the organization is not 100% on Amari Cooper. You know, I thought they was all in, but when we're talking about Dak Prescott, even with Patrick Walker, they're closer with Dak Prescott than they are with Amari. I heard they're not even near the ballpark with Amari, okay? And they may just tag him and let him play on that tag, or they may really try to get that trade for him. I know a lot of us are like, damn, you spend a first rounder, you get 5 years out of a first round, 4 guaranteed, 5th on an option year. You only got him for a year and a half, so that would be a waste of a first round pick if you did that. And plus, Amari Cooper is a dog, but he has some flaws. Doesn't play the greatest away from home. Looks pretty injury prone. I said he sulks. I know some people just have that attitude. Trust me, I got a cousin. That's my dog. Go check out Fit Go. It's a great boxing gym that he has out here. But he's a quiet storm to me. He never talks. He always has the same face, and you're always wondering, like, is he mad or is he happy? He just looks like that. So that could be the Amari Cooper thing too. But I still think he sulks. He didn't get along with, we were talking about how he didn't get along with coaches in Oakland. Now he didn't get along with some coaches in Dallas. I don't know if he's a prima donna. I don't know what that is. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Amari Cooper, because now it doesn't seem like he's going to be a person that's going to be in the Cowboys long term. He might be here another year if they put a tag on him, but I don't know if a long-term deal is going to get worked out now. From what I'm hearing, it's like 50-50 now with him. Amari Cooper's nasty. I love Amari Cooper. The ability, what he's done for the team, I love some Coop. I want him back. But if they're not willing to pay that price, then we probably won't see him. And if he's coming with them demands of a $17, $18 million a year, I don't know if the Cowboys are going to pay that. I don't know if they're going to do it. Tavon Austin, I'm sorry. Cut Tavon. What do you need Tavon Austin for? He's been there 2 years, made $6 million, and done what? You get what I'm saying? What has Tavon Austin done in them 2 years? Nothing but be hurt. And when they keep on trying to make these gadget plays, yes, it could have been Garrett. It could have been Garrett not allowing him to do the gadget plays, but he's older now. You have other players. You have young guys you need to see. You're probably going to draft a receiver. You still have young guys in the fold. What would you keep another Tavon Austin for? The only reason why you would sign him would be for another one-year deal, and he's not going to get on the field for receiving. It's just going to be for punt returning, and really you're just going to keep him on the roster just to punt return. That doesn't make sense to me when you can get other guys to do it. So I don't see Tavon Austin coming back. I think his time is done with Dallas. Yes, it is very rich. And I was listening to Daniel Jeremiah. He's not a trusted guy for me, but I like Daniel Jeremiah. I like listening to him and Bucky Brooks when they do their shows. But I agree with him, not maybe on that level because he scouts it deeper than me. But this wide receiving core is super deep. Super deep. And I'm sorry if I got off the subject about our linebackers, but we talked about our linebackers. We're ending it just by talking Cowboys football. What's wrong with that? We'll be all right. We got like a good 5 minutes left, and we talk about the Cowboys, and then we'll be done. You can still donate. Please be a proud Patreon. We added 5 more people to our Patreon. We're building it, and we're growing. You can donate with the Super Chat. Like I said, you can be as low as $1. You can go as 5, 10. And I know what you can say. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't you? This is a profession. We're trying to make this thing bang and make it great. So if you'd like to do that, you see it at the bottom right there, Silver and Blue Nation Patreon. You got to do is just go to the link right there and go to the site. $1 a month, $2, $3, that ain't going to kill you. That ain't going to kill you at all. So please subscribe, donate, and let's make this thing great. But if you're talking about the receiving core, like I was just saying before I switched off my subject, wide receiving is super deep. I mean, damn, you could find somebody in the 4th round, 5th round and still be good. You feel me? So why would you keep a Tavon Austin when you got hella receivers? And I think that's another reason why they might not be as strong on Amari right now, because this receiver class is so damn deep. So damn deep. And they can be looking like, you know what? We already got a Michael Gallup. Okay, we think he could be a number 1. Hey, ho, we got a 199 holla for Bobby Rayford. Go to the combine. I'm trying, big dog. I'm trying. Tell him to give me these damn tickets so I can get y'all this flame on coverage, because you best believe I'm going to have it. But they may think Michael Gallup's ready to take the number 1. Maybe they re-sign Randall Cobb. I don't think they should, because he's going to cost a lot of money. You can get some young players. But maybe they think he's ready to take that next step. I think that he's just not there yet. He's close, but I think Amari Cooper helps him. I I think Amari Cooper helps Michael Gallup. When you got Amari Cooper there, it makes Michael Gallup better. Michael Gallup is nasty, but when you got Amari Cooper there, it makes Michael Gallup so much better. So, is Michael Gallup going to be great without Amari Cooper? I don't know that right now. I don't think so. I think he's very good, but I think he probably needs another year of dogness in him to be that true number one. So maybe they go out and draft a receiver high, because that could be something that could happen in that first round too. You don't know. If they draft a receiver at that 17th pick, you already know the writing on the wall for Amari Cooper. That should tell you. If they draft like a top dog in 17, a receiver, that should tell you Amari Cooper ain't coming back. D will ask me, do black quarterbacks get treated bad? I think there's still a stigma on some black quarterbacks. I think it is, but if you look at what black quarterbacks are doing now compared to when I was watching football when I was young, it's a beautiful thing. Now, we probably the front office and the presidents and the owners, and that's a whole different story. But if you're talking right now, 2020, I don't think they're getting a bad rap as they used to, because I remember when I was loving when I saw a Doug Williams. I watched that Super Bowl against the Broncos, and I was geeked that Doug Williams did that. Not even being racist, you're just happy and proud you didn't see a black quarterback do that. So I was happy, and then I was even more happy when a Steve McNair came in from Alcorn State, because I was like, there was no black quarterbacks. You get what I'm saying? And even when a black quarterback came out, the first thing they were trying to do is, hey, make him a receiver or a running back, or he can't do this, he can't do that. So I was loving when Steve McNair came in, because even Steve McNair wasn't the best polished passer, but he was just a dog. So when you see Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. There's tons of black quarterbacks now, so I don't think they get the rap like before. I think it's a really good thing what we're seeing in the NFL right now as far as what the black quarterbacks are doing right now. What's up, Starstruck? Yeah, Tavon was coached by Fossil, but I still don't think he's coming back. Chris Dantzler, we definitely need to keep Devin Smith. He signed a 2-year deal, so I think they're going to keep him unless he gets hurt, during training camp or something like that, a major injury. But they signed him to a 2-year deal. Why wouldn't you bring him back? He didn't really get the chance under the other staff when he did do something. Hey ho, Willie Robinson with the $2 holla. Appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for help growing the nation. We got to get to this camp. We got to get to the combine. We got to get to this draft, and all y'all contributions help me get there. Just remember that. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much. But what you asked me, yes, I definitely think they're going to keep Devin Smith because they signed him on a 2-year deal, and he didn't get a lot of the work under the Garrett regime. I know they don't have no ties to anybody, but I can definitely see them keeping a Devin Smith. Why wouldn't you? He's still got the good speed, great hands, played great against Washington. I think did he play against the Giants? I think he had some critical good catches in that game. So yeah, you definitely want to keep Devin Smith, and I definitely think he's going to be in the roster because, like I said, he's signed a 2-year deal, and he's not costing you a lot of money. Yeah, Laviska, he's nasty. He's a big boy. He's a big, strong animal receiver. Big, strong guy. We'll see. Like I said, I'm cool with Cobb walking because Cobb is 30 years old now, and Cobb is going to cost some money. Cobb is made $5 million last year. They're talking about the market value for him. He didn't have a bad season. Still had like 55 catches for like 800 something yards. So he didn't have a bad season. Got some touchdowns taken away from him by penalties. He's going to want some money. And I just don't see why the Cowboys would pay him $6-7 million when you got all these receivers in the draft. If the draft wasn't heavy in receivers, yeah, but this draft is too damn thick with receivers. You need to pluck some of them guys. Yes, Dancer, totally. And salutes to Terry Glenn, the late Terry Glenn. I knew Terry. He's born and raised out here in Columbus, Ohio. He went to Ohio State. My homeboy knew Terry. We used to play basketball at this police substation, and it's so funny because rest in heaven, rest in peace, Terry Glenn. It's so funny because me and Terry Glenn got into it. We didn't get into a fight, but we almost did. We almost got to blows because I'll never forget. He was in the gym. Terry can hoop too. Terry can hoop. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't pat myself on the back, but I can hoop. I was a baller. So I took it a little personal when he was out there. I wanted to go against him. I wanted to make sure I guarded him, so I did guard him. And I ain't going to lie, I was giving Terry the business. I was giving him the business, y'all, and I was telling him every play. Every time I scored on him, I was letting him know. And he was getting mad about it. And I'll never forget, I went to the hole, and I did an up-under. I'm left-handed, so I went up there like I was going to go right, and he went to try to block it. So he smacked the board, and I came up underneath him. I smacked the board with left hand, and I told him to stay down. I don't know if I said stay down, clown, or something like that. I told him to stay down. And he was like, what? So he came up to me, and then I was like, well, what's good? And then, everybody broke it up. We said some words back and forth, but it wasn't nothing serious. So that's my Terry Glenn story. We played a few other times, but he was real cool after that. We shook hands, no big deal. But Terry could play some ball, man. Terry was a good player and a great athlete. And he overcame a lot of things, and it's just sad, that situation with him and his son. So tough. I don't know if the Rams kickers are free agent, but I don't know if the Cowboys get him. But I ain't going to hold y'all up, y'all. I appreciate all you guys. Had a great talk today. Great talk. I'll be going live tomorrow, too. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I don't know if you guys know about this gentleman. His name is Marcus Smith. It's called Boss Cowboy. He's on with Tyson, with West Coast, Dallas Cowboys Scouting. Marcus, and we've done a couple shows together. Good friend of mine, showed a lot of support last year when I was doing shows in Texas. He came out there, supported me like no other. Great brother in the game, and he actually has a book coming out. Don't leave yet. He has a book coming out, and I'm going to actually show it. He has a guide, a draft guide. I don't think it's a 2020 draft guide and free agency, like a Bible. Okay. And that's much props from me that he put in that grind. So he's going to come on tomorrow on my show. We'll have a popping on here tomorrow. We'll promote the book, and we're just going to talk Cowboys football. We'll talk about everything because, he's got a lot of great knowledge with the Cowboys. I love talking to him, and he always gives some great insight. And you're going to find out about this 2020 draft guide and this free agency. It's a good book. I think it's only selling for, I'll give you the price. I don't want to quote the price out here and be totally wrong. And he'd be like, hey, dog, you give my price the wrong book. And people ain't, I don't want to do them like that. So I'll let him tell you how much the book is going to cost when he comes on here tomorrow. Make sure you tune in that because we're going to have some good Cowboys talk. Please, you see the Patreon right here. I'm going to push the hell out of this shit because, like I said, we got to continue to make this thing grow. I want at least 5,000 subs by the end of this season. I'm at 2,700 now. I gained over 1,000 subscribers in 10 months. Thank you for everybody who's been a great subscriber. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. The people who latched on and became new members of our Patreon. But pretty much definitely the donations during the shows. They're freaking awesome. Y'all don't have to do it, and that's a beautiful thing that the donations do come. It helps grow this, and it's just I'm always humbled, and I always want to let y'all know that I probably haven't let everybody know that every show. So I just want to let everybody know who has contributed and who has donated, who has become a subscriber, who has liked, who has shared, who has done anything to make this thing bigger and better. Salutes to you and shout outs to me, Big Game James, and much love. And let's continue to make this thing grow, man. Like, for real, I want at least 5K subs by the season's over, if not more. I want my Patreon to grow even bigger. We're going to be doing more. I'm going to be doing more production on my side. I'm still kind of learning the game. I got my homeboy Skywalker working with me as well. Next week, we're jumping in the Dallas Cowboy for Life, DC4L. Next week, that DC4L and DC4L Deluxe, the Dallas Cowboy for Life download. We'll be starting our weekly show next week there. Get on in there. That's going to be fun because you're going to be able to participate in games. You're going to be able to participate in prizes, giveaways, everything that you can possibly imagine. That's what we're really going to try to do in that group. That's going to be exclusively on Facebook, so you're going to want to know about that. You can be a member, but it's a private membership, but get in there, be a member so you can jump in so we can have a good time. You're really going to like that because there's going to be a lot of things that you can do and we can give away. So I definitely think you'll want to be in tune on that. Also, Still going to be grinding, trying to get those good interviews. Had a great roundtable. Please go check out the draft roundtable with me, Law Nation, Bobby Belt, and Jeff Kavanaugh. It was really good. A lot of good information if you want to know about that. And then, like I said, we're going to be heading to the draft in April. Got to get to that draft this year. Gotta get to this draft this year. So anything that you guys can help to contribute to help me get to this NFL draft this year will be greatly appreciated. It's real out here. Like I said, one last time, the last couple of years, I pretty much paid everything out of my own pocket to get to these events, to try to get y'all to this great coverage. It's nothing about me just getting there and kicking it and saying, oh, I went to the draft and had a great time. No, I ain't trying to go to the draft to kick it. I'm going to the draft for work. I'm going to the combine for work, not for pleasure. Work. Get y'all footage of these players, in-depth footage at the draft. Get good interviews. Talk to people that maybe you're not talked to. Talk to some inside people you maybe not heard of. This is job work. This ain't going there to kick it work. This is job work. So anything you contribute, just believe it's going to the work possibilities to make this thing grow and make it great. So it's there for you. Please, let's make this bigger and better, as big as we can, because we want to make this thing great, for real. We really do. And as I said before, I got some things in cahoots with some other people behind the scenes that we got some things coming up, but we're just waiting for things to happen. Some things that have to happen, which are going that route, but I don't want to jump out there and tell it. But I'm telling you, it's going to be some fire that's getting ready to come up, and it's going to be even better with you guys contributing and making this thing great. So thank you for all your time today. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for the great comments, the talk today. Always jumping in here in the feed. Had a good show, had a good crowd. Always respect and love what you guys bring to the table and the knowledge. I don't know everything. I do know a little bit, but I don't know everything. So I like listening to what other people have to say so I can continue to grow in my own knowledge. So I appreciate everybody that's done that as well. So shout outs to me, Big Game James, Silver and Blue Nation. Let's make this thing great. Let's get on board. Let's just make this thing hot. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Myself, Boss Cowboy Sports. We'll be talking about the draft, his draft book, and free agency, and more Cowboys talk. All right? But until then, salute. I'll talk to y'all. Peace. Have a great night. I'm out.